Welcome back, Last of Us fans. We are here talking The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4. Damn, that was a doozer. I loved it so much, and I wouldn't be another week without my two extremely great hosts. We got Cody, and we got Seth in the building. How are you guys both doing today? You guys doing great?
Doing very good.
Wonderful.
Love it. Love it. Well, if you guys are new here and you guys are watching live, well, thank you so much. Make sure to go subscribe to both of these gentlemen all around me. Seth is a film journalist that does interviews, reviews, all sorts of stuff over on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Cody is an actor, writer, director. So we get a lot of cool, different perspectives. Go follow Cody over on Instagram. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming up fairly soon. But we're talking The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4. That's what we're doing today. And that's the fun thing. We're talking about a show that made me go to therapy, basically, in my own room, once again, just like the video game had done. And this is our therapy session. We're continuing our journey with Ellie and Dina to get revenge for Joel. And as we've mentioned, there are spoilers for the show here. So if you've not watched episode 4 yet, you should probably go watch it. Then you should come back and watch the rest of this. If you're watching live, feel free to start leaving your thoughts down below in the comment section, the live section. And if you're watching this later, leave it in the comments too so I can respond to you. We will be taking questions at the end of this live stream, specifically just for The Last of Us. Unless you send in a super chat, then fuck it, we'll answer whatever. But with that said, we like to talk and give our first impressions for the show. There will be no spoilers for the video game until we actually mention it. So if you've never played the game, you are safe. I'll start this week. My first impressions is with a score of another 9.5 out of 10. I'm almost even close to going out of 10 out of 10 personally. I think this might be my favorite episode. I'm going back and forth on episode 2. This, as a game fan, hit all the levels for me. It didn't just adapt the game really well, especially one of my favorite segments, which I got really giddy when I saw Seattle day 1 in the bottom left-hand corner. I flipped out to my wife. I was like, you don't get how important that is to me. That's fucking important. But she got it. She understood, guys. And because I made it a point through the whole thing. But this was a good episode that dives deeper into the WLF, Isaac specifically, which we didn't get that in the game. And also, the things that were the same from the game were just as perfect as they were in the game. The things that were great in the game, I actually think they elevated in this episode. And we also got meandering. They actually took their time. They wrote in the meandering really well. Like the take on me. In the game, it's like, I could see in the TV show, if you wanted to include that, like, why are they just singing randomly in the middle of the episode? No, it makes sense. We're just chilling. We're waiting for it to go to nighttime. So I really dug that. Seth, I'm going to start with you. What was your impressions and what's your score of this episode?
I absolutely love this episode. I think it's my favorite since the second one. So score-wise, I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10 because what I was waiting for, I thought the moment actually hit way harder, and I loved it so much.
I love it. I love it. Cody, what about you, sir?
There's a lot of stuff I loved about this episode. I'm with Seth on this. Honestly, I would say that, and I think I'm with you, Zach. I think honestly, just sitting and thinking about it, I think this might be my favorite episode of the season so far.
Damn, I love it. Look at us. Look at us actually agreeing this week. Last week, Seth, you were the one that was like at a 6, right?
Yeah, I did not like last week's episode, but this brought it back up.
Does this make it a little bit better for you now? Like now, like seeing, okay.
There's still one storyline that I'm just like, but this definitely made me a lot happier.
I think there's one storyline we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
We're like,
yes.
Yeah. What the fuck are we doing? I have a friend who's seen the whole show and I haven't like asked him anything. But I was about to text him and be like, look, I'm going to ask you for one spoiler and that's it. I just want to know what the fuck they're doing with Tommy.
Yeah.
I just want to know what they're doing with Tommy. Just spoil that.
I mean, speaking of that, because since we all love this episode, can we talk about the Tommy thing first? Because I think that's the thing we're all kind of worried about right now. Because we are halfway through the season. If we take out the bottle episode, we have, 2-3 episodes left?
2 episodes. 2 episodes left now. Because you have 5. We know one's a flashback and then one's the last one. So if the flashback's not next week, then, yeah. I don't know.
It's like, and other than Tommy's grief, they really haven't done anything with him this season.
No. So, but we'll talk about that more when we get to the game section, because I have a whole comment on something too that I didn't expect them to go in that direction, and fuck, they're doing it. And I don't think my coworkers are going to watch the next season. Just saying. I'll just leave it at that for now. But guys, overall, let's dive into this. How we're going to do this week is basically we're going to talk about Isaac first. Then we're going to jump into Ellie and Dina's storyline. Usually we go bit by bit and kind of talk about the whole entire thing is what happened here, what happened here. But since it was 2 storylines and we got 2 scenes of Isaac, we're just going to focus on Isaac first. And I'll say this, like, usually I put up spoilers for the game, but this is new. That was my one issue with the game. I wanted more of Isaac because you have Jeffrey Wright. And right off the bat, Neil Druckmann delivers that. And we get more of who Isaac is as a leader and also how fucked up he is. I mean, what? He was a part of Fedra and he jumps out. He's like, you come with me. And then just, I knew something was going to happen to those Fedra people, which, rest in peace, Josh Peck made it very clear.
All you early 2000s Nickelodeon fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Drake and Josh action.
Loved it so much. But I loved how he just walks back casually, throws the explosives, walks back, shakes the girl's hand, which that actress looked familiar. Is that the mom from Ted, the show?
Oh, yeah, I think it might be.
Was.
You're
Okay,
right.
I think that was. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if she shows up again. Great show if you haven't watched Ted, guys.
I have a theory on who she is.
Okay. I think we might have the same theory because I looked at her and I was like, is that who I think it is? But yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
So yeah, really liked Jeffrey Wright's whole thing there, and then I also loved the interrogation scene. I thought that was brutal. As Cody said before this, I didn't expect to see a dick and balls in this episode. No. I did not expect to see that either, as my son's sitting there watching, and then I jumped to dive in front of him because he's sitting there in his little walker and he's just, playing and staring at the TV, not knowing anything's going on. No, not letting you watch that. But it was brutal. That was a brutal scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was just gonna smack him. No, he's right on the hand.
Skin is peeling off. Ugh.
Yeah, and to end that scene, it's great to see that I love how they didn't show the other guard initially, and then when it flips to the other guard, it's the guy who stood with Isaac during that point. And Jeffrey Wright's just menacing as hell. So, Cody, tell me about your thing. What did you think about Isaac? What did you think about the extra development, Jeffrey Wright? And then Seth, when we get to you, let us know that theory, because I think we're on the same wavelength here.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I could say Jeffrey Wright, across the board. I'm going to be specific to Jeffrey Wright here, but personally for me, as far as this season goes, from the acting alone, this is my favorite episode of the entire season. And Jeffrey Wright is a big part of that. And he just, once again, shows how versatile he is as an actor, because he was in American Fiction a couple of years back, and that was completely rolled from what he's doing here. And of course, he's played Isaac before. But honestly, Isaac, like you were saying, Zach, we didn't really get too much of him. And just seeing how sinister he is as a character was great, because we got a hint of that. We got a little hint of that, but we didn't see the full extent of it. Here, it feels like we got the full extent of who Isaac is as a person. And he is just... I mean, I shudder to think of Isaac as a character, because he's just... You're right. Neil Druckmann delivered. That interrogation scene was phenomenal. It was brutal. It was rough. I think there's no other word to say it. That interrogation scene was rough, but it was so well done. And once again, just shout out to Josh Peck, because here's the thing: is that the guy's come a long way as an actor from doing stuff with Nickelodeon back in the day. And then he was in Oppenheimer a couple of years back. Mm-hmm. And now he's in The Last of Us, which is...
And he's dead already.
And now he's dead. Yeah, such great range. But also, I liked how everything with Isaac, how it's new stuff for both people who are fans of the game and people who are fans of the show. and the writing is just so airtight for something that's new.
Exactly. No, I love that. Seth, what is your prediction? What were your
So
thoughts of Isaac?
I loved Isaac. I loved the backstory and getting more from him. And my theory, which kind of makes sense for the show, is that that woman he met with is actually the prophet of the Seraphites.
Yes, I agree. I thought when he was walking up, that was gonna be the prophet.
Yeah,
And I think if this is what taking place 10 years
yeah.
before where we're currently at,
2018, so yeah.
And it
yeah,
could
about
explain why
so.
he's so angry at them, which we never got
Yeah.
really.
Yeah,
So,
and I'll even add another thing. What if he likes her? Like, what if he has
like
what if they're
feelings. Yeah,
romantically entangled? That even brings it more, and it all ties back into the themes of love and all
yeah,
that stuff in there. So, no, I agree with you on that theory. When I saw her, I was like, oh, is that the prophet?
yeah. That's the
Like,
first thing I was like, why is she leading this group of people? What's going on here?
yeah, and
And I saw
I know
that.
they mentioned a religious thing.
Yeah.
Like Josh mentioned that, or Josh Peck. I like how we're calling him Josh Peck, but it's not there. Other than that, real quick before you continue, Cody, do you like this theory? Do you not?
I do like the theory, and the reason why I like it is that it ties back into there's a monologue that Isaac gives in the interrogation scene before we see who he's talking to about his relationship to people, but specifically women in general. And if that ties into this, it would give a lot more heart to why he's doing everything that he's doing right now.
Yeah, very much so. So, other than that, what else do you think about Jeffrey Wright, man? What else do you think about these additions to Isaac and all that?
I honestly think it's perfect. I like we're seeing this like brutal side of him more, and like we're seeing like how he became this person. And I think obviously having him come back as himself, like Jeffrey Wright voiced the character in the game, having him come back is just like the icing on the cake. So I'm really excited to see where they take his story.
100%, man. 100%. So that's Isaac's storyline for this episode.
Yeah.
Really fantastic stuff. Jeffrey Wright, like Seth said, like Cody said, cannot wait to see what they do with him next.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, what's his relationship with Abby in this story? How close is he to this one? You know, in the game, it seems like she was very, like, if he were to die, like, she would take up, you know, the mantle potentially one day. So I do love that. And that's where we kind of take our way to Ellie and Dina. And for me, Seattle Day One is kind of the calm before the storm, if anything. And they honestly like did a lot of work in this episode. Like, there's a lot that they cut out, obviously due to gameplay. Thank God they didn't have to go start any generators to get some fucking doors open.
Oh, geez.
But I love how we see the radio tower, and I'm assuming that's where Manny was last episode, right? So that's where Manny was. So then in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my God, Manny's gonna be the first one that dies. Clearly, that's not the direction they're going. But to kind of just kick off this episode, I really liked how it opened up with the pharmacy. And we have Dina finding something. We all knew she was pregnant, right? We called it last week. Do we all know it was a pregnancy test?
I did this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew. But that's just because, like, we played the game. A lot of people who haven't played the game didn't know what to expect. But I was like, when she was in the pharmacy, I knew she was looking for something to tell her why she was throwing up.
Yeah, it was funny. My wife, like, obviously they don't show it. She grabs and she paused the TV and she goes, what did she grab? I know you know. And I'm like, I mean, it wasn't in the game, but I assume it was a pregnancy test.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that. Because if I don't answer her question, she'll get mad. So then, you know, whatever, this goes through that, and we get this really clever thing, which me and Cody were talking about beforehand. I love the meandering of this episode, but I also like how it was designated to the story. It's like, okay, we're looking for ammo, we're looking for supplies. Oh, look at that giant WLF tower. Let's go right in and kill him. And Dina's smart and goes, "You're dumb. You're dumb. We're not going to do that." And so she calls back and she says, "Why don't we just, you know, wait till night?" And first off, great change. Whereas Joel's death should have also taken place in a darker descent place. I love that this scene took place during the night, because in the game, it was partially during the light when they walked into that. And great idea there. But we get this great meandering thing, which is one of the most optional things in the game, and it should never have been optional. But we get the Take On Me scene with Bella Ramsey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Singing. And first off, she sounds so much like Ashley Johnson. She sounds so much like her. but her voice is perfect. It's soothing. I love how Dina tries to like quietly sneak up. And I love how it ties back to, again, Joel's presence. Joel taught me, that was one of his lessons. I'm trying not to tear up right now because that's like literally like top 3 moments from the game for me, and I think this is like top 3 moments in the entire show. I also like just little things of like Dina playing the drums, just like the game. That's such a little thing. If you look at Dina in the music store, she's playing the drums. So this was a fantastic moment. I think it's these meandering moments that really add levity and things like this to the story that we very much need. And this is what I really needed from the last few episodes, was those meandering moments. I think 3 kind of hit it, but 3 was one of those episodes that we need to go get this show on the fucking road.
Yeah.
That's where we need to start going. But 1 and 2, I think 2 to a certain extent needed those in the beginning before we got into the storm, and 1 kind of had it, but really much this episode solidified that. So what did you guys think? You guys have played the games, you know that moment.
Yeah.
What did you think about the meandering of this? What did you think about before they got to the tower? Let me know.
Everything with Dina and Ellie in this episode, I loved so much. And there's a big reason. Like, we've talked a lot about the essence of Dina and Ellie as characters. I think really this episode was that for me. Because Bella Ramsey and Isabella's performance as Dina, I think specifically this was the episode where I was watching Bella Ramsey very carefully, because Ellie as a character, before Joel disappears, before Joel dies, is she's very emotional. Like, she's a very extroverted, emotional person. And after Joel dies, that flips. She's quiet. She's just there's a character dynamic and a character arc that I was interested to see how Bella Ramsey would play. In this episode, for me, I just so thoroughly fell in love with her as Ellie again. It was just because this is a side to Bella Ramsey as Ellie that we just have not seen yet. And it was there's more stuff in regards to this episode that I want to talk about, but we are not there yet. But in terms of the meandering, it was great. The Take On Me section, I legitimately got choked up as I was watching it. It was so great. And of course, like, at this point, saying that Isabella is great as Dina is like a broken record. Like, she was perfectly cast. It was, so I loved basically all of it. Is what I'm saying.
Awesome. Well, Seth, what about you, man? What did you think?
Every time Bella and Isabella are on screen together, it's just like pure magic. Isabella Merced is the best thing to happen in the show. Like, I know how much you like want Bella to get an Emmy. I think Isabella needs to for her performance.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm just like, their connection is just like, you can feel it. Like, it feels genuine. And I don't know, like that whole guitar scene of her just sitting there and like, you can see that they're like falling for each other in that scene, and you really feel that. And I thought it was way more impactful than the game.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know if you guys listened to the podcast with Neil Druckmann, Craig Mazin, and Troy Baker, but they didn't do a chemistry read with Dina, with Isabella and
Yeah.
Bella Ramsey, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was having a
I
dumb
know.
moment for that. I was like Isabella, Bella.
Yeah.
But they didn't do a chemistry read with them, and
that
they
blew
mentioned,
my mind.
yeah, they mentioned first day was a scene between them, and it was the most stressful thing because in that moment beforehand, we thought, oh shit, we should have done one. This is literally what the whole thing is based off of. And that first scene, they're like, okay, they're good. Okay, they're good.
That's crazy to think, because like you could never tell.
100%. So anyways, it gets nighttime, creepy, dark, and they get to the tower.
Oh
and
boy.
They get in there, and they see they notice the window has some blood, and they go in, and there's a guy with bow and arrows just stuck inside of him. And she, okay, that's not that bad. And then you walk into the big room, and you're like, oh, this person's gutted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is iconic from the game.
Yeah.
I will say they did it better in the show. 1000% did it better in the show, from the lighting to everything of that nature. And also, to add on top of this is something I should have mentioned in my impressions. The production design in this show is fucking immaculate. From a game perspective, it's like one for one. From a non-game perspective, it always blows my mind how they can just transform all these areas into a post-apocalyptic nature or into the most creepiest setting. And this was creepy. They're stringed up, they're gutted up, and Ellie goes, "Oh, those people in the forest, they did this." So it ties back to that symbol. And then the WLF show up. And I was just waiting. I'm like, come on, just fucking use your moves, Ellie. Use your moves that you've been training on in Jackson. And she gets cornered. She takes one down. Shout out to Isabella or Dina, shooting one in the back of the head. And then Ellie, I love how she stabs him, and then they just bust on out of there. Intense, thrilling. Seth, we're going to go to you to start with this. What do you think?
I thought that whole sequence was awesome, and seeing them just like hanging from the ceiling, you're like, oh, so this is the type of people that we're messing with. It gives us more background on this Seraphites, which we didn't really have. Like, we kind of just got introduced to them last episode, which with this, it was just so much better. And then seeing Ellie and Dina just take on the WLF, I was like, this is what we need more of.
1000%. And Cody, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that both of you have said. The one thing I will say is that there have been a few things here and there that, for the sake of television, for the sake of plot, or the graphic nature of it, I thought they may have cut out. Them walking into the room and finding these gutted people hanging from the ceiling, I honestly did not think it would be in the show. Because
really?
The thing is, in terms of the graphic nature of what The Last of Us has presented us with, it's one of those things where HBO has been known to produce some very graphic content before. I didn't know if they would do this kind of thing, because we have a dragon burning down an entire town, or a guy getting his head squished in Game of Thrones is one thing. Seeing a group of 6 people hanging with their entrails dropped below them, that's another level of graphic and gritty. I didn't think they would put it in the show.
Well,
but
Art the Clown is actually a Seraphite. I don't know if you knew that, but he is a Seraphite. Seth, you told me this, right?
Yeah,
correct?
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. They just sent Art the Clown in. I mean, that's all he did. He did it. So, but no, I mean, it was intense.
But he was the naked guy.
Yeah. He's the naked guy.
He's the naked guy.
I mean, hey, man, Thornton could have done it. He
exactly. Could have done it.
No, this moment was fantastic.
But it was
great. It was funny because like anything from the game that pops up, I like get up and get excited. I like literally sit on the seat. I'm like, fuck yeah, people hanging from the fucking roof. Woo! And my wife like always says, she's like, shut the fuck up. Like that's not like funny. I'm like, I didn't say it was funny.
You should have been like, kind of is.
Yeah, Mr. Cody Leach is in the chat. Thank you, Cody. This is one of the best episodes yet. Recreating actual gameplay segments. I fully agree. And that's a good thing to put, is like they've been kind of doing that a lot. Like we got the bottle thing in the first episode, and in this episode it's a lot of stealth. And this is where we get to Ellie and Dina running away, guys.
Yep.
And they end up falling into they don't fall. They go into this subway tunnel. And the second I saw those red flares, I was like, ooh, this is not going to go good. And my wife goes, what's not going to go good? What's down there? What's down there? And I said something, and then she saw the tendrils, and she's like, oh, no, a big one's coming. I'm like, oh, yeah, a big one's coming.
Yeah.
no, it's worse. It's fucking thousands of them are coming, which was a great, intense moment, I have to say. Like, that from the game, 1 for 1, basically. And I'm not saying that this needs to be exactly like the game, but the fact that they do touch on things like that, those are things that I found were missing in the first season, personally. Were clicker moments like that, and it's intense. And I love how even the WLF are like, I thought they were all dead. Why are they down here? And you get this incredible scene of them climbing through, and I'm waiting. I'm like, how are they going to show Ellie and Dina? Like Ellie gets bit, or are they going to introduce spores? And Ellie saves Dina's life. shoves her hand right through, gets bit. And Isabella Merced's eyes, like how shocked she was with what Ellie just did.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how Bella's like, okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Fantastic. But then we get like to the theater. We get, and Isabella's still standing there with the gun, like just like, you were just bit and you're not taking this serious at all. I'll leave it right there. We'll talk about that moment. I'll talk about it with you guys. I screamed when I saw the theater again. My wife told me to shut the fuck up because I was like, whoa, the fucking theater, man. Fuck yeah. I know what happens there. Some fucked up shit.
A lot of things.
Some sex. And some other shit. Literally sex happened in there. So whatever. Shout out to Katie Heron who directed this. She's a great director. She did a lot of episodes of Loki that I was a big fan of. Anyways, Cody, we'll start with you. Before we got to the theater, what did you think? What do you think about the clickers? What do you think about all that intense stuff?
I think that before talking about the theater, because I have so much to say about the theater, I think that everything that happens in the tunnels is a perfect representation, whether it's a book or a video game or another source material, of taking something and adapting it to fit whatever medium it's in. Because within, as you said, Zach, within the game, there's a lot of meandering. The section in the tunnel, there is a lot of meandering and a lot of wandering around. With the urgency that is in this show, with the hordes of these zombie-like creatures that are in the tunnels, there was no place that they were going to be able to meander. And so I thought, in terms of not just a fan of The Last of Us, but a fan of stuff that is like Resident Evil, or a fan of really, really, really well done zombie-related stuff, I think this was handled, in terms of a crisis situation, it was handled about the best that you could handle it.
No, fully. Seth, what about you? What do you think of the craziness of this?
I loved it, and I love that they promised us that we would get more infected this season, and we've definitely gotten it in the horde. I was trying to think of a fun word to use there. Lots of infected. That's what I'm just going to say here. But we've gotten like quadruple amount than we did first season, and seeing them like escape through the tunnel in the like train, the subway, cars. Like, it was just such an intense sequence, and I love those moments in the show because it really shows what like all of these actors are capable of, and with like them actually taking time to like pull things from the game, it makes it so much better in my opinion. Like yeah.
No, I mean I fully agree with both of you on everything like that. I think this is just one of those special episodes that, for the most part, this is a perfect day one. There's not much you can fuck up on this.
Mm-hmm.
You keep the most, and you double down on the things like this, like the bite.
Yeah.
I think this is the biggest thing. I prefer how they did this in the show than to the game.
Yeah.
I think the gas masks thing is great. It works for the game. It's a good reveal. But I think that we obviously know that Jackson has a big thing that if you're bit, you're going to get shot.
Mm-hmm.
Plain in, plain out, which I think all ties back to Eugene. I mean, we're going to see that this season. We're going to see what happened to Eugene. And I think that's a massive thing of keeping that in mind. But I love how this whole reveal plays out. I love how they get in there and Ellie's still kind of going just hand in hand. Like, let me put this here. Let me put this there. And Isabella Merced's just sitting there like, Ellie, don't make this harder than it is. And she's like, no. Like, I love that argument that they had. She goes, I'm going to go sit over there. You point a gun at me. You do whatever. Yeah. But when I wake up, I'm going to be the same. And she wakes up, and sure as shit, she was right. And instead of having this like, oh, what, why conversation, Isabella Merced, Dina goes, I'm pregnant, and rushes in and kisses her. And from there, they wake up the next morning after great sex on the ground of a dirty theater with a ton of rocks and maybe glass and who knows what else. But it's the apocalypse. You find out, you find wherever to go. I'm not gonna toot some horns. Where's Shimmer? Is my question. Is Shimmer okay? Anyways,
he is for now.
Yes. Fucking better be. Better be a change from the game. I'll leave it at that. But so we get to this, and I love, me and Cody were arguing about this beforehand. I hope he changed his fucking mind by the time we get to this point. But I like that they wake up And I love that they just start talking. Like Ellie's like, yeah, this is why I have my tattoo. I wanted to start wearing short sleeves again. It wasn't a chemical burn. It was this, it was that. Love that kind of dynamic. Love how they're kind of looking at that, because that's kind of like one of those things that I just think is that meandering portion. It's the calm before the storm. We don't have to get going yet. We're already here, you know? And from there, I love Bella Ramsey's line delivery. I'm gonna be a dad. And only Bella Ramsey could say that line. And I love how she continues to say, oh, well, so you, me, and Jesse are going to raise a kid. Like the whole combo about that is really sweet, sincere, and clearly something that both Ellie and Dina have both wanted for a long time. They've both wanted each other for a long time. It's been put off. It's been the most obvious, stupid secret in the world. And I'm happy that by episode 4, they just established them as a relationship. But it was great. It was so good. Seth, I'm going to start with you because I got to know if you're on my side or not before we both yell at Cody. Seth, go ahead.
I am 100% on your side. That's why I said Isabella Merced is the best thing to happen in the show, because you feel that relationship in the game, but like in the show, it just feels all more real to me. Like their chemistry is just so good, and like you could tell like the next more like when she found out that she wasn't actually infected, like she cares for this person, which is why she was so distraught. And I wanted to go back a quick second to the thing that when they were like before she sat down, she was like Dina, I would die for you, but this isn't one of those instances. I really love that whole conversation because it's like
fucking love that.
Yeah.
Love that line. Thank you for mentioning that.
And like trying to prove that. So I had to bring that back up because I loved how that whole situation started.
That was a great line. There's a lot of great lines in this. There's a bunch of great lines. Cody, have we convinced you? Be honest. If we have not, you may still be here. Go. No. Cody knows what I do in live stream, so go.
Talk. Yeah. I know what you do in live stream. So no, the whole show sucks. No, I'm.
Yeah.
All right, he's gone. It's just us.
It's just us.
No. I will say.
Shut up. Go again.
Yeah, I am convinced. The one thing I will say though is that I don't want this conversation here. Obviously, we know there's a lot of seriousness coming up. I think the only way that this is going to be soured is if this conversation about what's going to happen when they get back to Jackson in regards to Dina's pregnancy, in regards to their family and everything, if that sort of goes to the wayside after all of this is said and done, even if they talk about it a little bit more, it'll be fine for me. But for me, everything in that theater...
Let me give some context real quick. So before the show started, before Seth joined, Cody's like, I got one nitpick for the episode. I don't get why they had to have this conversation this episode. Am I right? That was your one?
Yes, that was my point.
And I told you though, I said, when the fuck else are they going to have this damn conversation, Cody?
And it makes sense for this episode because they just went through something so traumatic, like being chased by 1 million infected.
Yeah, you know what, Cody? Let me look up. I have your location on my phone.
Oh my God.
I'm going to fucking find you. I'm just going to show up randomly, and I'm going to have someone beat the living shit out of you.
Why?
And you're going to survive it because someone's going to run up and save you and then be like, I'm pregnant with your child. And they're going to be like, this is your dad and all this stuff, and you're going to be fine. Okay? You get it? You get it? I got your location.
Oh my, why?
I was just about to say where you were, and I was like, wait, that's inappropriate because we're live.
Yeah, no, I don't want you to dox me, Zach.
Yeah.
Anyway, to go on top of all of that, the one thing I wanted to add here is just how they went about everything from the reveal to the pregnancy reveal to everything in between. I like how they did it better here than they did in the game.
Because I
think in terms of the game and the tone they were going for there, I think it was good. I talked about performances a little bit when I got here. Bella Ramsey and Isabella Merced, in terms of how good they are in these roles, the bite scene and the pregnancy reveal proves it. And specifically, I'm going to talk about Isabella Merced when she thinks that she has to shoot Ellie. Because currently, I am in, from an acting perspective, I'm in a very heavy show right now called The Laramie Project, where all of us actors at a certain point, we get to that level of being gutted during the show. And being able to get there as a performer, it is one of the, it's not easy. And when you get there, it's sort of a spiritual experience. And watching an actor like Isabella Merced get there multiple times in this episode, but specifically inside of that theater, was one of the best acting things on television I have seen in a long time, even though it was such a short segment. And in terms of, I haven't talked about this, but in terms of Dina and Ellie's hookup, I prefer how they do it here than how they do it in the game too.
Yeah.
Because the game was like all well and good, but everybody I've talked to, when we get to that point on the weed farm, everybody's like, it kind of feel like it came out of nowhere. Whereas this, we've had 3 episodes of buildup. And if we count what happened in season 1 with Ellie, we've had close to 7 episodes of buildup to get to this point. And it just feels earned. And it feels super well done.
Fully. 100%. I fully agree with that. And I love where it takes us to the ending of this episode where an explosion goes off. They grab the radio and they say Nora's name. And Lakeside, Lake Hill? Which one was it?
Lakeside. Lake Hill? I don't remember.
One of the fucking two.
One of the, yeah.
And the big difference changed right here. Dina's going with Ellie, which is not what was in the game. Now, I don't know how in depth they're going to let Dina go so close, because Ellie's got to do some fucked up shit there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I also, like, this ties back to the earlier thing where Dina goes, if we run into any other wolves, and Ellie just gives her a look. And she goes, yep, I agree. They're going to kill them all. They're going to kill every single one of them.
Listen, I just love how down to earth Dina is. She's or down for anything. Like, she's like, let's go kill some wolves. Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? They killed our dad.
Yeah.
They killed our stepdad. Let's go fuck them up.
Our stepdad.
They killed our father.
Yeah. So I can't wait for next week. Nora's dying, right? She's getting her beat.
Yeah.
She's getting her head beaten. Let's leave it at that. So let's leave it to this. Spoilers for the game, guys. We're going to give some predictions. So if you're a little very worried about wondering what we're going to talk about, from this episode, I don't really have a lot to talk about with the game because it was basically 1-for-1. We've kind of already talked about it.
Yeah, it was.
That I was really expecting. But next week's episode is going to be interesting because does it end with the Nora stuff? Like, what ends there? Like, where does this episode end? Because there's a lot that they could end the next episode on. And I'm very curious to see where they go. Do Jesse and Tommy show up in the next episode? We need the Grim Reaper of Seattle in this fucking thing. Come on.
Yeah, let's talk
about the Tommy. Yeah, let's talk about the Tommy thing for a section. Or for a little bit. So that is the one hesitation I have on this season. Because I love Tommy in the game. I love that the second game gives him a little bit more depth. His presence is felt through that entire game, even if you don't really see him till the back half. And there are things and choices that are made in the last few hours of the game that if we don't get with Tommy, who do we get it with? You know what I mean? You got to do Seth in that moment? Because I not you, Seth, the other Seth.
Yeah.
I won't believe that. I won't believe that. Tommy has to be there.
Could you imagine if Seth shows up though?
Fucking wild, man. It took him a while hopscotching around with his fucked up leg. But it's gotta be Tommy. I would be blown away if Tommy is not showing up. Now, I'll say this. If Tommy does show up, I'm fucking... Fuck yeah. No, man. Bring your sniper rifle up. You know? You fucking do what you gotta do, dude. Sorry, I had a piece of cake, like a big-ass piece of tres leche cake before we got on here. So I'm, like, wired. I'm hyped.
You're ready.
I'm fucking hyped. I also only got 4 hours of sleep last night. So I'm even more fucking hyped now. So yeah, that's my thing. I think we're all in agreement on the Tommy thing, correct?
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Like, it's just an
Yeah.
afterthought. It's annoying.
Yeah, it's like, especially since the thing that I'm so concerned about, and the thing I'm pretty sure I've talked about every time we've gotten on here, is the fact that we heard as much about Tommy in season 1 as we did in the game. We heard about the fact that him and Joel have a very checkered past. We heard the fact that Tommy and Joel have done some very shady stuff together. In season 2, it doesn't feel like Tommy came from that at all. Because Tommy, look, the grief stuff, I get. Like, I totally get. And anybody who has family members, that kind of sorrow and hatred for people, you get. But unfortunately, we are 4 episodes in with 3 episodes to go. 2 episodes if you take out the bottle episode, and Tommy hasn't done anything.
No. I hope he's on his way though. I'll leave it at that. Seth, what about you? What do you think? Same thing?
Oh yeah, same thing. I'm bummed.
Right.
We need more Tommy.
So I don't know about you guys. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to mention from the game? And then we'll jump into actual predictions for what we think is going to happen next week, which kind of goes in hand with the game. But anything else?
I think sort of my big thing is we've sort of gotten a reveal and we've sort of gotten little hints and pieces of the extra lore that were not included in the original game. If we're getting as much from the extended lore as we have been, I really hope we get to see Ellie and Dina go to the Seraphite Island, because that was something that was originally going to be in the game. But
I will say this: we'll know by the finale if they're going or not. Well, I think I'm ready for the predictions now, because there's a lot to predict with what's going on this season. We can go off the trailer. We know an episode is the bottle episode. They've announced this. We know that'll probably be a flashback episode for the museum. I think that whole episode is going to be a flashback thing. I think next week something's going to happen to Ellie that really fucks her up. Like, I think she's going to have to take a little bit of a sleep to sleep. And we're going to see a flashback. I think all of episode 6 will be an entire flashback. We'll get the guitar, we'll get the museum, and we'll get the Eugene stuff, and probably end on why was Ellie pissed at Joel. And then that leads us into the finale, which will be most likely Seattle Day 3. Which, Seattle Day 3 will be I think if they are going to go to the island, that'll be the episode. They go to the island, they end on that episode. They end on the island. That's where it would end at. If they don't go and what do you think?
I was just gonna say, I feel like that's like too soon for the island though. Like, I feel like that's like,
unless you're going with Ellie, unless they change stuff. I mean, is there an island?
There has to be, especially with like the way they're painting the Seraphites now. There has to be.
Yeah, I mean, they have to have a retreat place. I'm very curious, because to get in predictions, I mean, a little bit of spoiler for the game if you don't know. So what? Next season's all Abby?
That seems like it at this point.
Ballsy. Mm-hmm. Because I'll tell you right now, none of my coworkers will care. None of them.
Most of my friends won't either, who haven't played the game.
Like, if they didn't play the game, they are not into like that at all.
No.
That is asking a lot. I have to imagine there's something else there other than just Abby. Unless they're secretly filming fucking season 3 right now and we get it next year, which I doubt.
Honestly, well, I was going to say to your point there, it kind of feels like it, because there's a lot of things in the trailer that we got for this season that haven't happened yet, and for there to be only 2 episodes left, it kind of like doesn't make, there's not enough time.
Yeah, because again, we take out that museum episode, 2 episodes left of what to go on. So what? It's very interesting. So
I mean,
I'm done with my predictions. Cody, take it off, and then I'll let Seth continue.
Oh, it's fine. Realistically, honestly, I know that they said that they've got the 3rd season in the works. At this rate, I would not be surprised if they're secretly putting together a 4th season, because there is so much that they still have to get through, and we only have 3 episodes left of this season. It's just doesn't make any sense. And for me, as far as prediction goes, one of my predictions already failed. The Shamblers did not show up this episode.
No.
But speaking of that, let's talk about the preview for the next episode. Because when
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
I didn't either.
So you're going to be the only one that knows.
Do you want me to talk about it? Okay, so there is a segment where Ellie goes down to the basement level of the hospital, and it is Abby Rat King level surrounded by fungus.
Okay.
Well, that would be an interesting addition to the season because both you and me, or Zach, you and me, did not think that was going to happen this season.
I don't think the Rat King's still happening. Maybe they hint towards it. Maybe they hint towards that there's something down there, but I don't. I'm interested though. There was a lot of infected though in the Lake Hill because they were already evacuating it. So I don't know. Nora dies next week though. We're all in that same.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah, she's gonna die.
So, any other do they go to the aquarium this season?
I don't think they go to the aquarium. Like if they do, it's the end of the last episode. Like that's the last thing we're left on.
Yeah.
And Zach, do you know for sure that the flashback is next week?
I know for a fact it is 6.
Okay. Oh, so it's the last episode.
No, so there's 7 episodes. So
okay.
Next week's 5, 6 is the flashback, and then 7 is the finale.
Okay, so
I only know that because Neil Druckmann said it. Neil Druckmann said 6 is the bottle episode. So
I was gonna say, I wonder then. I was gonna suggest that would have been like the finale, and like they have that, and then they end up at the aquarium at the end. But then
no, that would be really cool. It could still happen though. Yeah. Maybe the flashback, like by the end, she is at the aquarium. You know what I mean? And they just switch up the days a little bit. Yeah, last prediction, and before we get to this, guys, please start throwing in some questions. We're gonna take some in the next couple of minutes. If there's no questions, then we're just gonna end the show, and I'll be disappointed. There's 19 of you watching, and that's pretty fucked up. Anyways,
I mean,
what, Cody?
There is. I'm just curious, and this is a question for everybody. What do you? Obviously, we have 3 episodes left. We're not going to count the bottle episode because that's nothing. What do you think the next Abby thing we're going to get this season is, if anything, in the next episode?
So that's kind of where I was going to end the predictions on. What does the season end on? There's a couple moments and points that I can see him ending it on. I think either one, Ellie's standing over Owen and Mel. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say any more details to that. Or 2, it's the theater scene. Her running out and not going to say what happens, but that. What about you guys? Do you guys agree? Disagree?
I think it would be the theater scene, so I agree with that. I don't think it's the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say that I think it is going to be the theater scene, and if it is, all I can say is I can't wait to see people's reactions when it happens.
Same, man. Same.
Ready?
Let's do it. Let's do it right now. So, anyways. Yeah, that's the prediction. That's the last prediction I have. Let's take some questions now. You guys ready to jump into this? I think just kind of round out my final review of this. This is a solid 9.5 out of 10, if not a 10 out of 10 for me. Seth, you still at the same score?
Yeah.
And Cody?
Yeah, for me, I would give this episode a 9.5. That'd be my score.
All right, guys, let's take some questions. Leslie asks, question, if Dina ends up going with Ellie, will she get to a point where she thinks Ellie is taking things too sort of far, like in the game, or will she go along without it? Question. I think she will go along with it until she'll think that she's gone too far. And then the stuff towards the end of the game, that's kind of takes place into that. You've taken this too far. You need to get over it type of situation. Where do you guys think? Seth, I'll start with you.
I think that we definitely will see her think that she's taking it too far. There'll definitely be a clear moment. To your point about the end of the game with those two, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they go about that, because I could see them changing that aspect a little bit.
Me too. Cody?
For me, I'll just leave it at this. in terms of the end of the game, I do think it is going to be. I think there is a clear moment where it's going to happen in the show.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I don't want them to change anything about the ending of this story.
Same.
Not this story anyway.
Thomas Baker asks, "What's your guys' favorite sequence in this episode?" Mine is the subway scene. I got two. Mine's the bite. I love the instead of the
That's
escalator, it's the turnstile or Take on Me. It's one of my favorite moments from the game. Cody?
It's either Take on Me or it's the entire section of the bite reveal, the immunity reveal, and the pregnancy reveal.
Okay.
I'm literally with Cody. That's like, yeah, same.
Okay, perfect. Sergio says we're going to see Abby in the last shot in the season finale. That would make sense. Maybe she's standing outside the theater when it ends.
Yeah.
Because Leslie says it would make sense to be the theater scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to read one of the comments because it's kind of a spoiler for the game, so I will leave it at that. The last resident, when do you think we will see Ellie and Dina's relationship begin to crumble? Not for a while.
Yeah, not
like I mentioned in my last answer. I think we're all in agreement. It'll be towards the end if they go that route. If they go that route, there may be changes. I mean, honestly, there may be changes because I saw this picture, and it was when Ellie was sleeping in season 1, and she's by herself, and then it's the picture of her and Dina sleeping next to each other, and I'm like, oh, Ellie just never wanted to end up alone. Leslie, it doesn't seem like much time left to do everything before it. I agree. Sergio, did you see the island at the end of the episode?
I did not.
I did not. I might have to go back and
wait a sec. It might be maybe we all missed it, but I think the point that we need to go to is when we go back to it is when Dina and Ellie are looking out across the city and there's that explosion. Maybe it's in the background in there somewhere.
I'm gonna have to go watch this.
Maybe.
Guess we'll have to rewatch the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Last resident says, still not the biggest fan of Ellie and Dina's relationship. The pregnancy scene was not near as well as done in the game. I like it more in here because Ellie's actually excited.
Yeah, same.
I think Ellie still hasn't gone to the darkest place yet. I think she's about to in the next episode.
Yeah.
Michael Entity asks, how do you guys feel about Joel playing Future Days in the flashback scene, even though Pearl Jam didn't release that song until 2013? I have a thing for this. I don't give a fuck. Nothing against your question. I don't give a fuck. And guess what? Craig Mason said the same thing when he got interviewed about it. I don't give a fuck. You guys?
Don't care. It needs to happen. That's all I'm
and
gonna say.
also, who says Pearl Jam Joel didn't run across them?
Yeah, right? Maybe he met them in a tavern somewhere.
Hey, and all I'm going to say, hey, look, I'm just going to say this. If it happened in the game that has the same timeline as the show, it could happen.
Exactly.
When are they going to sing Nickelback for us? That's what I want to
know.
know.
Dude, I hope they play Photograph. I was
going to say.
Photograph.
It's just a photo of
Think about that.
Tommy's going to say, look at this graph, and it's over.
I love that.
I need it. I need it so bad. I always forget I have these sound effects, and I never use them.
It's great.
So, all right, last question, guys. Then we're going to end this episode. The last resident. Do you think having Abby be the main character of season 3 will kill the interest for the show for non-gaming game reviewers?
Yes. At this point, it already has.
1,000%. I would almost even say if you, I don't even know you call it The Last of Us. I think you just say it's a spin-off season, and then you get back to the rest of the story. But then it becomes the point of, okay, well, people who didn't watch that will be confused when they get to the rest of the story. It will kill it. It'll kill it. But if it's written extremely well, I hope it brings people back. I mean, I put into this, like, people follow Cersei from Game of Thrones. Like, she was one of the final main characters. She's a piece of shit. I didn't like watching her. Fucking Bran, not the most interesting character. People followed him. Like,
Joffrey.
Actually, let me equivalate it to this. I get it. Everyone's mad at Abby because of what she did to Joel and things like this. What show just ended? You. the main character is the biggest piece of fucking shit in the entire universe. Joe Goldberg is a piece of shit.
Joe Goldberg, you're essentially following a modern day Ted Bundy.
Exactly. If you can watch you can watch The Last of Us Season 3 and follow someone who only wanted revenge. Because if it was flip-flopped when we followed Abby and her daddy, he'd be pissed off too. So
Also, I'll equate it back to this. If we want a show that was also produced by HBO, guess what? 90% of the characters in Game of Thrones that people like, guess what? They're trash. Like, they're terrible people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so am I. Anyways, with that said, guys, that is the end of us. The end of us, I guess.
Oh wow, we're all dead next week.
Hey,
no
episode. With that said, Seth, where can they find you at? Leave your final thoughts and let's get to it.
You can find me at According to Seth on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all those great places. And final thoughts, I love this episode. I am really excited. Nervous there's only 3 left because there's just so much ground to cover in the second game. And I feel like we're running out of space quickly.
100% agree. And Cody, what about you?
If everybody wants to follow me, you can find me on Instagram at _Cody_Curtis. I've got a lot of stuff going on right now, but the one that is coming up the soonest is I'm in a play called The Laramie Project, and that's going up on June 13th.
Awesome. So go follow them, guys. And with that said, my name is Zach Pope, and I'm here to be your host for The Last of Us. Talk movie reviews, talk games. That's fucking loud. Talk video games, talk movies, talk TV, all on this channel. Lots of stuff. This next week's going to be a little bit of a slow week, but then we follow up the following week with like Final Destination, Mission Impossible, and a bunch of other things. So with that said, thank you so much again for watching this. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe for watching this on the replay. Thank you so much. Thank my wife, too, for watching the baby so I can do this because thank God. But other than that, guys, we will talk to you later as we talk The Last of Us next week.